PDWs. Let's talk about it. Good evening, I'm Toby, and this is Lapis 210. Tonight we're talking about PDWs, or personal defense weapons. What are they? What was the original concept and application? And what are they today? How do they apply to your life? And how can you use them? Are they a good fit for you? Let's discuss it. The modern PDW was originally designed for those who are stuck in confined spaces. PDWs were first seen in World War I, in the trenches of Europe. They were then seen in limited use in World War II, hence the M1 carbine. And we see them in the modern battlefield today with second line troops such as engineers or mechanics, drivers, and other S-shop personnel. But you also see them in the hands of special operations and in some limited use, the military police and other specialized units. Maybe those who were conducting PSD for a general or a colonel, but more often than not, they've kind of fell into a niche within the special operations community. I think it's important that we delineate the difference between a PDW and a submachine gun. Submachine guns or subguns are generally found in pistol caliber carbines or pistol caliber platforms. They deal primarily in full auto as being a submachine gun, but even in the hands of civilians with those that are semi-automatic or with binary or rapid reset triggers or force reset triggers, the subgun is almost always in a pistol caliber and normally a very small package. We do see pistol caliber carbines with 16-inch barrels or 14.5 pin and weld and the like, but as a general rule of thumb, the subgun is almost always chambered in a pistol caliber platform. The PDW, however, while they were originally in pistol caliber platforms, they did morph, as we saw in World War II, the M1 carbine in a 7.62 cartridge, a 30 caliber cartridge. It transitioned over time, and we saw this play out again in modern times, let's say with the 5.7, the P90. We also saw it in the 4.6 with the MP7. And we've seen a natural progression where those who are conducting CQB that originally were carrying MP5s or the like have transitioned into shorter barreled AR platforms. This allowed individuals or specialized units to have the ability to engage targets not just at close range, but at extended ranges because it's firing a rifle caliber cartridge out of a shortened platform, reminiscent of that of a subgun or a PDW. But more importantly, what is the PDW? A personal defense weapon. Well, there's a few parameters. My experience has led me to come to the conclusion that PDWs are small platforms, we'll say 26 inches and below. While that's not a delineating factor, it is a factor. They, in the modern battlefield, are generally not pistol caliber. They are generally rifle caliber platforms, and they range in size, they range in application, they range in configuration, but they're normally small platforms in a bottlenecked or rifled caliber. They're generally designed for CQB to intermediate ranges. Now, I wouldn't even say medium, but more intermediate, somewhere between short and medium range. They're designed to be concealed and easily maneuvered, and it really varies quite a bit with the modern onset of Gen 3 platforms where you can change out barrels, you can have more generally configurable and modular platforms. The PDW has truly kind of progressed beyond just a dedicated pistol caliber platform. So with the onset of ARs, AKs, newer systems like you see with the Flux. Here I do have a pistol caliber platform in the Chris Vector. And of course, looking at something like the Jackal or other weapons like the Jackal, there's a PDW version of the Scar. We see PDW versions of other platforms that have morphed. The AKs in a rifle cartridge, we've also seen them kind of transition into pistol caliber cartridges as well. But the Bren 2 and others of the like, you see these transitions. I would even argue in terms of the bullpup, the smaller barrel platforms of the bullpup easily fit within the PDW range in terms of size. And because rifle caliber is no longer a excluding factor in the modern PDW, we could even say some of the shorter versions of bullpups could fall into that camp given their size. So why do I make the argument that rifle caliber is also an important factor in the modern PDW? Well, as PDWs begin to morph and become more abundant in application in Europe, long before it did in America, the ability to pierce Soviet armor, NATO-rated armor, and NIJ 3 level 3 armor became a deciding factor in a PDW because PDWs were not pistol caliber in the modern battlefield. PDWs became kind of that homogeneous system all to its own. Not quite a rifle, not quite a pistol. Their ability to pierce soft armor, right, in terms for us in America, the NIJ level 3, but also to be able to reach extended ranges out to about 200 meters. Again, giving it that intermediate range. Not quite medium range, not quite just CQB, but intermediate. And that becomes clear also, as previously stated, with special operations on when they are moving to a target. But let's say the average truck driver, their motorcade gets hit, they're engaging targets, they need to be able to shoot beyond ranges of 50 to 100 meters. Being able to push out to 200 meters is a respectable range for a weapon platform in the modern battlefield, and an ability to pierce armor, to have greater accuracy at those extended distances of 100 to 200 meters. This helps determine what the modern PDW should encapsulate. So the concept being what it was intended to do. The modern PDW should utilize a compact, lightweight rifle or tapered cartridge, should be able to pierce soft armor, should reach ranges up to 200 meters, with a high velocity, accurate round. It should be able to be functional in confined spaces while still allowing enough modularity for modern optics, lasers and lights, and other accessories. And it should be able to utilize the current supply chains. This is the point I think that gets missed today, or dismissed, if you will, even. With the AK, when they created these shorter AKs, the idea was they have a compact package for a multi-role platform, but be able to utilize the same supply chains as the larger rifles that they were also supporting. Again, this is a factor I think that gets overlooked. I think it's very important that we point out the modularity and the rifle caliber cartridge, the magazine compatibility, the armor piercing capabilities, the accuracy and range, the lightweight, and of course, its ability to be stored or concealed. So why do I advocate this? Well, again, my personal experience and my research online has led me to this conclusion. Now, we've talked about 5.56, 7.62, 5.45, we have applications of 9mm here. What are some other popular cartridges? Well, of course, I'm assuming right off the bat, people are going to speak of 300 Black, and they should. And of course, 300 Black's big brother, 8.6. These cartridges allow us to take the technology that we're getting from the barrel designs today, the different alloys that we're using, the combination of ballistics improvements and ammunition and powders. When you start combining these abilities, we can squeeze more performance out of a much smaller barrel. This wasn't capable 20 years ago, even 30, especially 40 years ago. You go back to the 80s, PDW was kind of relegated to just a pistol caliber platform. I mean, look at the VZ Scorpions, was a perfect example of the classic PDW from the Cold War era. But we've progressed, and again, we spoke of 5.7 and 4.6. Those are very popular as well. But one that I think people miss that has become what was becoming very popular prior to this current administration was the 9x39, commonly seen in the VSS sniper system and some other platforms that the Russians had developed. The 9x39 was a 7.62x39 cartridge, or casing I should say. With the cartridge removed, they necked it up to a 9.31mm cartridge out of a 7.62x39 casing. So you took the AK and you beefed up that cartridge in 9mm. And they were doing this back in the early 80s. So long before we have 300 Black or today the 8.6, these gentlemen took a proven platform and necked it up. They give it more mass, make it more valuable to a suppressed platform. Definitely ahead of the curve. So while we champion our innovation with the 300 Black, the Russians were doing this back in the early 80s and late 70s. That's when this concept came alive as a result of the Afghan war. I think it's notable to say that, given the amazing ballistics and suppression capabilities of the 9x39. So when we start looking at the modern PDW, think about these certain things. Think about the small package and lightweight. We want modularity. We want armor piercing. Of course, that being soft armor. But that's not to say that we can't run armor piercing ammo out of rifle cartridges. So at that point, you can also start looking at the capability of piercing hard armor. We want the ability for it to be multi-role and still have the ability to reach out to 200 meters. Well, 5.7, 5.56, 5.45, 7.62x39, even 300 Black. All these cartridges easily can dominate out to 200 meters. So I think we have an argument to be said that being shoehorned into this 9mm or 45, 40 cal or 10 mil isn't a fair argument anymore. I mean, even the 7.62x25 Tokarov round, given its 2,000 foot per second velocity, makes it a viable candidate, despite its old age, a viable candidate for the modern PDW. It's something we should look at. So as we close up this short video talking about PDWs, if you selected a weapon platform, the PDW might be a viable choice for you. The PDW might offer you the platform that you're looking for home defense, for vehicle defense, as that dedicated truck gun. The PDW gives you a lot of options. And while yes, you're losing a lot of velocity, losing a lot of the energy that you need, what the 5.56 platform is designed to do. When you look at the capabilities of let's say a 10.5-inch AR, the 10.5-inch jackal here, its ability to reach out 200, even 300 meters. And while yes, you're losing quite a bit of velocity, that muzzle velocity is still hitting well above 2,500 feet per second, depending on the round. You've got a lot of options there. My ability to reach out and touch somebody and still have excellent accuracy is all dependent on how you build this platform. The modularity that I have, it's compact, it's light, I can easily suppress this. It gives you a lot of options in a modern world. So if I'm arguing for the viability of rifle cartridges, which is the modern understanding of what a PDW is chambered in, then why even have 9mm? As you look here, the Chris Vector at 9mm, this is fantastic because not only do I have a proven platform, I also have interchangeable magazine and rounds for my sidearm if I'm carrying a Glock. Or for the Flux Raider, the same thing, in a very small package. I can now carry the same magazines that I carry in my 320, I can carry on the Raider. So while it does lack some of the penetration, even with Plus P, that I would get out of a rifle cartridge, I am getting cross-platform compatibility between my sidearm and my primary. Now, like with the Flux, and we can talk later on in PDWs and their viability as a truck gun, this is a nice go-between having your rifle in some kind of go bag or stash bag in your car and what you have on your hip. I can easily keep this wedged between my center console and the seat and have it out and deployed in a matter of just a second, versus trying to go to a bag to get my rifle or having to fight to get my pistol out. And while yes, there are other options for carrying your pistol in the car, it's hard to argue with a system that can immediately deploy a stock and give me stability if I get a shoot from the car quickly. So take what I say with a grain of salt. There's going to be different opinions. I'm sure there's some saying that I'm yelling blasphemy by saying that PDWs are supposed to be rifle cartridge or bottleneck cartridges, but research and experience has said otherwise. Now, it doesn't negate the fact that there's still a place in PDWs for pistol caliber. And the Army just purchased the B&Ts in a pistol caliber. But it's not as a flexible platform as those same platforms that you'll see with rifle cartridges. So take that with a grain of salt. Delineate for yourself what you think suits your needs. But I think if you start doing hard research, we'll come to the same conclusion that the pistol caliber was the standard cartridge for the PDW, but that has long since morphed into the rifle cartridge that we see today. Well, that concludes tonight. And like always, from the bottom up, taking your environment, and from the top down, make sound decisions. Good night.